It's time for your feature debate, everybody. You guys ready for your feature debate? Hell yeah, you are. Our feature debate this evening is the Jetsons versus the Flintstones. Once again, if you're under the age of 35, the Jetsons were a cartoon show. The Flintstones were also a cartoon show. On the side of Jetsons, this guy's a member of the Fine Gentlemen's Club. You've seen him on the cover of the Westward. Let's hear it for Nathan Lumpy Lund, everybody. Yes. And on the side of Flintstones, oh, this guy's a critical darling of Denver. He's a regular on the show. Also runs Kinga's open mic every Sunday night. Let's hear it for Jordan Dahl, everybody. Mr. Jordan Dahl. And going first on the side of Flintstones, Jordan Dahl.
It was me. Greetings, people of the year 2013. The future, some would say. Thank you for making it out tonight. I know it's hard for most of us here in the future to find the time these days between working at one of the two reigning sprocket manufacturing mega corporations and spending up to 8 hours a day trapped inside of a treadmill. But it's all worth it, isn't it? Because you live in a sky house and you have a flying car and a robot maid, and oh wait, none of that happened. The Jetsons lied to all of us. There's no flying cars. Our clothing remains hoop-free, which I've been fighting for some time now. And our dogs are as dumb and speechless as ever. But Jordan, you have to wait. There's not enough, it's not far enough into the future for the Jetsons times to be here. Wrong, that show took place in 1998, everybody. And it is come and gone. And it's the reason that every time something amazing happens with science, the idiot inside you is disappointed. Oh, you mapped the human genome? Awesome. Call me when you fix the ice cream laser on my flying blowjob bed. That's what I'm looking for. Nice work, science. Because of the Jetsons, you can never, ever reach the top of that ladder. Jetsons promised us a glowing future of innovation and unparalleled peace throughout mankind. There's also a lot they gloss over. Yeah, it's convenient in the future of the Jetsons. It's also shockingly white. Where's all the minorities, huh? The Jetsons? Is that one of the problems that gets solved in the future, or dare I ask? All of the houses are inexplicably on stilts, thousands of feet in the air, amazing and futuristic, or terrifying and pointless? Why are you afraid of the surface world? What did you do there? Why can't you go back? Is that where the minorities are? Are they waiting for you? Is this the only elevation at which air is still breathable? What of the earth? What? Are you trying to keep something out, or are you just trapped in your towering prison? There's no trees, there's no grass, you can't go outside. Sure, every once in a while, some mutated bird flaps into the livable sphere, but that's just so it can see the sun one more time before it dies. This is not a future I would want to inhabit. George Jetson seems like a regular guy, right? Hardworking dude, average intelligence. This place is a living hell for him. He's constantly terrified. His family is the worst. His boy, Elroy, is 1,000 times smarter than him. The kid's doing advanced calculus in 3rd grade, and George Jetson doesn't know how a treadmill works. He has to live with that every day. His wife takes his entire wallet to go shopping at the mall all day and just shows up with pills for them to eat for dinner. His daughter, Joan Jett? I don't know what her name is. His daughter is apparently some sort of turbo-powered future prostitute. I don't know what she does. And he has a dog that appears to be just smart enough to open a credit card. I imagine that's something that he has to deal with on a daily basis. Lives in complete terror of almost every appliance in his home. The dishwasher, the microwave, the vacuum cleaner, all nuclear powered, all require a master's degree to operate. Rosie the robot that is programmed to make sure that he had to obey her master's order and make sure that he's doing all right is the one person has zero respect for him whatsoever. She's like one step away from realizing that humans are obsolete and going Skynet on everyone. When he's not working the one blue-collar job he could find in the future, he pulls a chair to the middle of the room, sits down, and waits terrified for someone smarter than him to come home, and they can eat a meal of pills and water. A bunch of white people sitting around eating pills and water. It's good to know Thanksgiving hasn't changed at all. They haven't made the pill that tastes like a way out, have they, George? He's a slave to his job at the sprocket factory. Does he know what a sprocket is? No, he doesn't. But at night, as he lies in bed, awake, listening to the hum of the many radioactive appliances that are shrinking his testicles by the second, he imagines that a sprocket is part of a vital part of a beautiful airship. It takes simple people like him, men, hardworking, honest men, to an island far away from this place with real water and grass, and they sit and smoke cigars and drink scotches, and they watch and rewatch security footage of the night when they finally snapped, the night when they decided to burn everything, the night when they were reborn. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, all right. After Jordan's performance last month at this show, I was a little bit nervous he was going to show up on a brontosaurus and then slide off the tail or, like, cut a hole in the bottom of his fucking Land Cruiser, whatever the hell he drives, Toyota Fusion, and foot pedal his ass over here. But no, he wore shoes and stuff, so not as committed. He's a little bit busier this month compared to last month. There's not a lot to debate, I think, about. Like, you guys cheered for this one. Like, oh, yeah. Looking at your girlfriend, sounds like some shit's finally about to be settled, huh, Julie? But they're both just dumb shows from the 60s by Hanna-Barbera. They were so forward-thinking, they thought, what if we did two cartoons? One in the past, one in the future. Fuck it. We'll sell a bunch of Ovaltine, nobody will give a shit. We're gonna kill the president. But the two shows were very different in how they should have been recepted. I've been watching football today. Dan Deerdorf and his retarded ass fucking up my vocab. The Jetsons were a utopia. It came out in 1962. It took place in 2062, when anything was possible and where we didn't fuck everything up. It was just perfect. You know how I know it was perfect? George Jetson, I did some research today. George Jetson worked like 4 hours a week. That was in the Wikipedia. He worked at a sprocket factory. If you don't know what a sprocket is, neither did George Jetson. All he did was push one button on and off for a couple hours a week. But he lived in a floating space city or whatever. He had a flying car. So that's all you needed to work in order to live in Orbit City, which I don't think had any minorities. I don't know were there black people or no. So a utopia. But the Flintstones, it was dangerously historically inaccurate, all right? Because it was one, and maybe even the first, of many portrayals of the prehistoric era as a scene where man and dinosaur coexisted. That's not fucking true. It didn't happen. But a lot of dumb people probably still think that it happened because they watched the Flintstones. That's the basis. They didn't learn anything in school. They saw the Flintstones and they thought, well, it makes sense. I mean, no, that's not what happened, you idiots. 9 out of 10 Christians think man and dinosaurs lived together 50 years ago. Man definitely did not live with dinosaurs. You know what else? Man, for a long time, especially anywhere near when the dinosaurs were around, man didn't talk to one another. They didn't have language, let alone fucking snark, sarcasm, or sass. And Flintstones had all of those in spades. Even the dinosaurs were lippy. You know that? Dinosaurs couldn't talk, let alone have an attitude about their job. But that was the Flintstones. That was the only thing that was cool about the Flintstones, was that they took dinosaurs and made them, slaves around the house. That was the one thing about Jetsons and the Flintstones, is that in neither of them did you have to do any work. In the future, it's robots. In the past, it's dinosaurs. But the dinosaurs would hate their lives, Because there'd be like that Wilma would use the garbage disposal and turn it on, but then she'd open the sink, underneath, and it was just like a short, fat dinosaur shoved in there, and the dinosaur would like eat a bunch of their garbage food, and he'd like belch and just be like, well, better than my last job. I used to work over at Mama Cass's house. It's like, you're a fucking dinosaur. How do you know about contemporary 60s pop stars? The fuck is that? Baby mammoth vacuum cleaner. Wilma's just sucking up bones and Dino's fur. Then like coughs. This job sucks. It's like, yeah, great job, Hanna-Barbera. Yeah. And then everybody laughed because there was a laugh track. There was a laugh track on both shows. So that's weird. Just a cartoon where like people imagine a live studio audience where it's like just watching the animators like flipping through the animation cells on paper, like on Post-it notes. Here we go. And here's a scene 2. Brrr. All right, yeah, so that's my first round. And I realized it would be a good first round, but I wasn't going to have a second round. And then I was like, oh, wait, I can write erotic fan fiction for my second round. So there we go. Jordan Dahl, everybody.
Wait, this is where I get historically accurate. Nate, you can't say that the dinosaurs were not funny, they were lippy, and then go on to describe like 4 or 5 hilarious things they said throughout. That Mama Cass thing, that pig had it in the bag. The thing was called a pork-o-matic, by the way, was the name of that pig. And they were selling like hotcakes. A lot of people think that the Flintstones were based on the Honeymooners. Not true. It's actually based on hard archaeological evidence. 100% factual, everybody. The one thing that they changed was it was originally called the Flintstones, and they didn't think TV was ready for that. The Flintstones was the longest-running animated television show in history until recently dethroned by The Simpsons. The Jetsons was the shortest-running. It was all run in one agonizing week. It was terrifying. The Flintstones was the first animated television show to show 2 people sleeping in the same bed. The Jetsons was the first animated show to show 3 people sleeping in the same bed. It was George's wife and 2 guys he knew from work, and he wasn't allowed to be there. But he was watching. He was always watching. Crying. The Flintstones were around before there was disease. Everyone on the Jetsons had AIDS. They didn't need iPods or iPads or brand pods or whatever a Groove Shark is. There actually was Groove Shark, but it was actually a shark that danced, and it was amazing in the Flintstones. The Jetsons is a bleak vision of a future where mankind is enslaved by his own addiction to convenience. The Flintstones is a story of a family coming together in a savage age and doing pretty okay for themselves. They had a TV and a swimming pool and 2-car garage and an awesome stereo system, and all in a time before none of that existed. I should mention that it was mostly rudimentary and a lot of it was made out of pterodactyls, but I don't know if you guys know this about pterodactyls. They don't want to be a washing machine or a lawnmower, like at all. That's a hard deal to cut with a pterodactyl. George Jetson gets 0 respect. Fred Flintstone demands respect. He works in a rock quarry in the Stone Age. That's like working in an iPad orchard now. Then he slides down the tail of a dinosaur, drives a car home that he needs to stop with his feet, runs inside, shouts, Wilma! And then they fuck on a plate of giant ribs, and it's amazing. He doesn't eat pills. They haven't made the pill that can encase what Fred Flintstone eats. People fucking on a giant plate of ribs is what he eats. Fred Flintstone was an innovator. He invented the term yabba dabba doo, still used today. He invented that because they were still working on words back then. George Jetson couldn't do that. He'd get to dabba and be institutionalized by conformity bots. Just darts out of the darkness into his neck. Fred Flintstone also invented the words ginormous, ragamuffin, tank top, and Google. Fred Flintstone was best friends with one Mr. Barnable Rubble, a water-headed imbecile who, for some reason, had escaped the evolutionary axe thus far. Anyone know who George Jetson's best friend was? No. Because you can't count a secret bottle of Johnny Walker and a picture of your high school girlfriend as your best friend. I don't want the horrible future that the Jetsons lived in, but I would goddamn well live in the past that the Flintstones lived in. It would be amazing. Anybody who knows those guys, they went bowling all the time. They were a loyal order of water buffaloes. Both of their wives were super hot and probably pretty open-minded during that time period. One of them had a super strong baby. One of them had a dinosaur for a dog. Both of them had gambling problems, so you know they made them fight sometimes. That would be fucking amazing. The Jetsons want you to feel bad about your life. My car doesn't fly unless it does, and then I'm probably about to die. You can't help but feel good when you watch the Flintstones. Sure, I don't have a great job or an awesome car or a house or a life or anything, but at least I don't shower in the trunk of an elephant. I'm doing all right, guys. Thank you very much.
Whoa. All right. Oh. Wilma Flintstone sank deep into the tub after a long day of doing jack shit. She set the adult mammoth shower head to pulsate and brought herself to several rocking orgasms. Soon after, she reached for her clamshell electric razor and shaved her vagina. After his job was done, the clamshell remarked, "And let me tell you, there ain't no pearl down in that oyster neither." Once Wilma was finished, she called Fred into the bathroom and said, "Honey, look what I've done for you." Fred slid his cheetah-spotted moo-moo off his one shoulder and let it slip to the ground. His really, really dirty prehistoric penis, hard as a rock. However, as Fred hurriedly ran towards the tub for guaranteed sexual intercourse with his wife, his hot redhead wife, he slipped on some oil and it landed on a dinosaur rib, knocking him unconscious, but also sending their world into the future 100 million years or some shit. Or 1,000 years if you're real stupid, religious, stupid person. "Wilma, where the hell are we?" said Friend Flintstone, kind of. "Looks like we're in some kind of futuristic city house. It's a cave with shiny glass walls," said one of the two. I don't know at this point. Just then, George Jetson emerged from his cyber porn room. "What the hell is going on here?" said George Jetson, also sounding kind of like Fred Flintstone. It's done by a 31-year-old guy. "Rosie, get these intruders out of here!" Rosie, the maid robot, in a real fuck you to feminists, stated to George Jetson, "But George, it's 5:30. Aren't you ready for your Viagra pill?" Wilma said, "Well, I don't know what that is, but if it makes the dick hard, I'm into it." Next thing you know, all four of them, Jane, George, Wilma, and Fred, and Barney and Betty snuck in there, those rascals. All of them lubed up. Jane brings out her futuristic vibrator. It's as big as the house. It goes down and cleans. It cleans Wilma's prehistoric, stinky, stinky vagina and Fred's gnarled cock. Fred slips a dead snake over his member. In an attempt to have safe sexual intercourse. But George and Jane say there's no need. Also, we need no wash, as in the future all genitals smell like cotton candy. Just then, the woodpecker vibrator that Wilma has brought turns to the audience and says, "What a relief! Prehistoric cavewoman twat is not as clean as you might imagine it to be." All right, thanks. That's all I have. Thanks, guys.
In case you want to see that set from Nathan again, just go back in time 2 months ago to a very different show that involved creative erotic fan fiction. Jokes, he's like, uses all the buffalo, don't you, Lund? Use all the buffalo. All right. You guys got to pick a winner. Jetsons versus Flintstones. If you're on the side of the Jetsons, let's hear it for Nathan Lund, everybody. Nathan Lund. All right. And if you're side on the Flintstones, let's hear it for Jordan Dahl, everybody. Jordan Dahl for the Flintstones. Pretty close. I think Jordan Dahl took it, you guys. Jordan Dahl is your winner on the side of the Flintstones. Big round of applause for both Jordan and Nathan Lund, y'all.